Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worthiness and dignity of every person, and where we support each other in our spiritual search for truth and meaning. My name is Kenneth Sutton. I'm the UUMH office administrator, and I'm pleased to be serving as your worship host today. Welcome to those in the room, and welcome to those joining us on our live stream. This morning, we welcome to our pulpit Will Hildreth. Will has been a member of the Meetinghouse for about a decade and has attended Bear Week for over 20 years. Thank you so much for sharing your message with us this morning, Will. Before we go on with our service, I have just a few announcements to share. Thank you to everyone who came to our Interfaith Barbecue last Sunday. It was loads of fun. This week, all are invited to our knitting and crochet circle Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. If you know someone who could use a prayer shawl, please let us know. The Great Music Series is mixing it up a little this year. Instead of concerts on Sundays at 5, some of them are on Saturday at 6. The next show is Saturday, July 25th, this coming Saturday, so mark your calendars for Songs of Travel with Craig Combs, Peter Kennel Clark, Monica Veras, and John Thomas. If you use one of our assisted listening devices, we fixed our technical difficulties thanks to Sam Sewell, and so those are available again. And finally, if you are here in person today, we hope that you will stick around for a little while after the service for coffee and conversation downstairs in Acker Bosworth Hall. Let's take a moment to affirm our community's covenant. You can find this on the little purple laminated cards in your pews, or you can just listen line by line as I say it, and I invite you to repeat each line after me. Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
This is our great covenant.
This is our great covenant.
To dwell together in peace.
To dwell together in peace.
To seek the truth in love.
To seek the truth in love.
And to help one another.
And to help one another.
And now, as we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you watching online to light a candle wherever you are, and that way we can feel connected even as we are apart. I invite Laura to light our chalice for us as I read these words by John O'Donohue. May all that is unforgiven in you be released. May your fears yield their deepest tranquilities. May all that is unlived in you blossom into a future graced with love. Thank you, Laura. And now I invite you to join me in singing our opening hymn, number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. That's 1008 in the Teal hymnal. When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Please rise as you are able.
Amazing
morning, friends. My name is Will Hildreth, and I'm guest preaching today. And as Kenneth mentioned before, I've been a member here for about a decade, and I've been attending Bear Week for about 20 years, which is, as you'll see, relevant to the theme of the sermon today. I invite you now into a time of meditation and prayer. During this time, or at any time during the service, you're welcome to light a silent candle at a table to the right of the pulpit, where there is a journal to record your thoughts and prayers. After our prayer, we will sing together Spirit of Life, hymn number 123, which is also printed in the purple laminated cards in your pews. That is in the gray hymnal, hymn 123. We'll sing that first in English and then in Spanish. This morning's prayer is a poem by Rumi called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes from an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
Our reading today is What is Real by Marjorie Williams from The Velveteen Rabbit. What is real? Asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side near the nursery fender before Nana came to tidy the room. Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle? Real isn't how you were made, said the skin horse. It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real. Does it hurt? Asked the rabbit. Sometimes, said the skin horse, for he was always truthful. When you are real, you don't mind being hurt. Does it happen all at once, like being wound up, he asked, or bit by bit? It doesn't happen all at once, said the skin horse. You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't often happen to people who break easily, or have sharp edges, or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. Now is the time in our service when we take a collection for the ongoing support of this meeting house and our shared ministry. As we enjoy a musical reflection by our choir, we welcome your donations here in the sanctuary or online through PayPal or Venmo. You can find that information on our website, uumh.org, and there are QR code cards in the pews as well. I invite 3 volunteer ushers to come forward for the collection. On and off-site, your offerings will now be gratefully received.
Again, you wanna win, feeling satisfied.
Thank you for that. Good morning, friends. And in honor of Bear Week, grrr. I want to begin with a simple universal truth. Every one of us arrived here today in a body. Not a soul floating free, not an abstract idea, a body. Young or old, strong or weary, familiar or comfortable, or perhaps a source of struggle. A body that carries stories. We often think of faith as something somehow disembodied. We speak of love as though it only lived in the heart and not in our hands, our faces, or our embrace. But life begins with bodies. Dust and breath, wounds and healing, hands that tend to one another, a body that bleeds, a body that lets go or holds on. Our bodies are more than vessels for our spirit or machines that carry us from one place to another. Anyone who has worked through trauma knows this. A skilled therapist will often ask a deceptively simple question. Where do you feel that in your body? Because our bodies remember what our minds sometimes cannot. Our bodies are our home. And every one of us deserves to live in that home with grace and peace. Today I'm going to explore body image and cultural pressure through the lens of bear culture. Some of us know that culture intimately. Others may simply encounter it annually on the streets of Provincetown during Bear Week or Spooky Bear. I offer it not as a curiosity or an exercise in cultural anthropology, but as a living parable, an embodied parable. Most of us learned very early that our bodies would be evaluated. Too much. Not enough. Too masculine, or not masculine enough. Too feminine, or not feminine enough. Too visible, too different. Too big or too small. Whatever we were, someone may have suggested that perhaps we ought to be someone else. And so our bodies became a battleground, a place where expectation wrestled with reality. Bear culture arose in response to that struggle. For many years, mainstream gay male culture reflected the same values celebrated by the wider world. Youth was prized, thinness admired, attractiveness narrowly defined, and visibility often reserved for those who fit a particular physical ideal. The message, whether spoken or implied, was simple. If you look right, you belong. If you don't, you should change or disappear. Of course, that message didn't begin with gay culture. It came from everywhere. Advertising, diet culture, ageism, sexism and racism, capitalism, ableism, and all the ways our society teaches us to sort human beings into categories of perceived worth. Bear culture didn't invent a new beauty standard. At its best, it rejected the idea that there should only be one standard. It was not a trend, but rather a refusal to disappear, a refusal to apologize for taking up space, a refusal to believe that desirability, masculinity, or human worth could be reduced to a single silhouette. In the 80s and 90s, gay men who were larger, older, hairier, or simply exhausted by striving began to ask a different question. What if we are already enough? What if bellies are warm instead of shameful? What if gray hair is something to celebrate rather than to conceal? What if strength and tenderness belong together? What if belonging expands instead of narrows? At its best, bear culture answered with a joyful declaration. Every one of us deserves to be seen. And that, my friends, is theology. This week and every year, our little town welcomes the bear community home. People return here year after year for Bear Week because there's warmth, laughter, affection, and a sense of joy in the streets. At its best, Bear Week quietly offers a promise our culture rarely makes. Come as you are. Be who you are. It grew from the conviction that there is more than one way to inhabit a body, more than one way to be beautiful, more than one way to belong. In a culture that so often narrows our definition of worth, Bear Week celebrates abundance instead. And yet, one of the things I've learned over the years is that every human community, even one founded on acceptance, carries within it the seeds of comparison. That's not a criticism of bear culture. It's simply an observation about being human. We gather together because we yearn to belong. Then, almost without noticing, we begin measuring ourselves against one another. Sometimes we compare bodies. Sometimes careers, our relationships, our accomplishments. Sometimes we compare things internally that no one can even see. The details change, but the inner voice does not. Not quite. Not quite attractive enough. Not quite tall enough. Not quite hairy enough. Not quite social enough. Our culture has become extraordinarily skilled at teaching us to hear that voice. Advertising doesn't sell products, it sells longing. A car becomes freedom. A fancy watch becomes success. Skin cream becomes youth. A gym membership becomes the promise that if we transform our bodies, we might finally be the people we were always meant to be. The message is relentless. You are almost enough. Almost. almost as a remarkably profitable place to keep people living. Of course, advertising didn't invent comparison. Human beings have always looked over our shoulders and wondered whether someone else was more attractive, more admired, more successful, or more worthy. Advertising just discovered how to monetize that ancient ache. Finding a welcoming community doesn't automatically silence it. We carry that voice inside us wherever we go, even into communities like bear culture or like this community intentionally built around acceptance. Not because those communities have failed, but because we bring our imperfect human hearts with us wherever we go. One of the things I genuinely love about the bear community is that it rejected the idea that only one kind of body deserved to be seen. At its best, it reminds us that there are countless ways to inhabit a body and countless ways to belong. Because it is a community of human beings, and not an ideal, it also reflects something universal. Even communities built on welcome can develop unspoken hierarchies. Most of the time, they're playful. In the bear community, you hear about polar bears, cubs, otters, wolves, silver foxes. These labels help people identify with one another and build community, but almost without realizing it, those playful identities can become invisible rankings. Who gets noticed first? Who seems effortlessly confident? Who gets the woofs on Commercial Street? Who appears to occupy the higher rungs on an invisible ladder? I've felt those stirrings of doubt myself, and I'm certain that many of you have as well. My guess is that most of us have felt that, whatever our communities of choice may be. Because comparison is one of the oldest habits of the human mind. Social media simply handed us a faster mirror. Every scroll invites us to compare our ordinary lives with someone else's carefully curated highlights. And before long, we begin believing something that isn't true. That our worth can be measured, quantified, measured by followers, by income, by youth, by achievement, by productivity, by the shape of our bodies, by who finds us desirable. Once we believe worth can be measured, scorekeeping becomes inevitable. Every community does this. Schools reward certain kinds of intelligence. Businesses reward certain kinds of personalities. Congregations reward those who volunteer their time or treasure. Even communities devoted to equity can quietly invent new scorecards. Not because we're hypocrites, but simply because comparison is a habit we've inherited and internalized. Most of us never chose that habit. We learned it from playground bullies, from Hollywood, from Instagram, from casual remarks adults may have made about our bodies when we were children. By adulthood, many of us have become fluent in a language we never meant to learn. The language of ranking ourselves against everyone around us. The tragedy is that that scorecard is never finished. There's always someone younger, someone stronger, someone more accomplished, someone more attractive. If our peace depends on winning that competition, we will spend our lives chasing a finish line that constantly moves down the field. Perhaps that's why our deepest spiritual traditions never promise perfection. They invite us into something far more radical, to lay down the scorecard, to stop negotiating our worth with the mirror, to discover that we belonged long before we ever started keeping score. Which raises a deeper question. Why do we keep doing this? I don't think it's vanity. I think it's something far more tender. Beneath all of our comparisons lies the same quiet question. Am I enough? It's one of the first questions we ever ask. A crying baby wonders, do I matter enough to be picked up and held? A toddler acting out in a rage wonders, will they love and care for me even when I'm struggling? A child brings home a report card and wonders, did I do well enough? A parent wonders, did I raise my children well? An older person wonders, am I still relevant? Our circumstances change through life, but the question remains, am I enough? Because that question runs so deep, we become vulnerable to anyone who promises an answer. The advertiser says, buy this. The influencer says, become this. The culture says, achieve this. Sometimes our own inner voice whispers, work a little harder. Lose or gain a little more weight. Make a little more money. Look a little younger. Make another painting, write another play. Then perhaps you'll finally be enough. There's a saying in recovery communities, wherever you go, there you are. You can change cities. You can change careers. You can change relationships. You can even change your body. But if we carry the quiet conviction that we are not enough, we'll simply bring that story along with us. The scenery around us changes, but that story remains. I've thought about this a great deal in the last few years. Some of you know that I spend a great deal of time in the gym, and that my body has changed dramatically over the last 5 years. I genuinely love strength training. I love feeling stronger, healthier, and more at home in my own body. I value the discipline it has taught me, the friendships it's given me, and yes, I enjoy watching my body change. Those are all gifts. But every so often, I have to stop and ask myself a deeper question. Why am I doing this? Am I moving toward joy, or am I running away from shame? From the outside, those two journeys look almost identical. Two people can follow the same training program, eat the same meals, and care for their bodies with equal dedication. One is saying, I love this body. I want it to be healthy and strong because it carries me through this beautiful, complicated life. The other is saying, when I finally look different, I'll deserve to belong. The outward behavior may be the same, but internally and spiritually they are worlds apart. For a long time, I believed that the opposite of shame was acceptance. But I've come to believe that the journey doesn't end there. Acceptance is a beautiful beginning. It whispers, maybe I don't have to dislike myself anymore. Maybe I don't have to believe every cruel story I've been told about my body or anyone else's. Maybe, just maybe, I'm enough just as I am. But I've come to believe that the deeper opposite of shame isn't acceptance. It's joy. Shame tells us to hide, to apologize for taking up space, to believe that our bodies, our histories, our identities, or our gender are problems waiting to be fixed. Acceptance gently invites us out of hiding. But joy? Joy teaches us to dance in the moonlight. Joy is the moment we stop asking, do I deserve to be here? And begin asking, how shall I live this one beautiful life that I've been given? Joy is laughing without wondering how it makes you look. Joy is jumping into the bay fully clothed without worrying about who might be watching. Joy is delighting in our bodies, not because they're perfect, but because they carry us through life. They let us hug the people we love, walk the beach, lift up a grandchild, sing, make love, eat a beautiful meal, greet another sunrise, and reach toward one another with open hearts. Joy doesn't deny that we can grow. Quite the opposite. Joy inspires growth. The question isn't whether we should change. The question is, where does that change begin? Does it begin with shame or with gratitude? Because when change begins with shame, the finish line is always moving down the field, just out of reach. There's always another 10 pounds, another promotion, another achievement, another reason to believe will finally be enough. But when change begins with joy, every step on the journey becomes an act of gratitude. We care for our bodies because they are our home. We care for our minds because they help us to understand. We care for our spirits because they connect us to one another and to the sacred mystery that holds us all. not to earn our worth, but because our worth has never been in question. Perhaps that's what it means to live comfortably in our bodies. Not because they're perfect, not because we've stopped growing, but because we've stopped asking them to prove that we deserve to belong. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person. It's one of those phrases that becomes so familiar that it can lose its power through repetition. But listen to that first word, inherent. Not earned, not achieved, not perfected, inherent. Our worth doesn't arrive when we lose the weight, find the partner, earn the degree, make the art, or finally learn to love ourselves. It was there before any of those things. This wisdom echoes across many spiritual traditions. Buddhists remind us that attachment to status and identity is a source of suffering. The Hebrew prophets call us beyond appearances toward justice and compassion. Humanists affirm the dignity of every human life. Quakers speak of the inner light, that of God in every person. Pagans remind us that the sacred is woven through the whole of creation, including the body itself. Different languages, the same invitation. E.M. Forster captured this longing for wholeness in the novel Howard's End. He wrote, "Only connect." That was the whole of her sermon. Only connect the prose and the passion, and both will be exalted, and human love will be seen at its height. Live in fragments no longer. Live in fragments no longer. I wonder if that isn't another way of saying what we've been exploring this morning. To reconnect with our bodies, to reconnect with our joy, to reconnect with one another, and to reconnect with the sacred in all of these things. What if the purpose of spiritual life was never to become worthy? What if it is to awaken to the worth that has always been ours and to recognize and honor it in one another? That changes everything. When I no longer have to prove my worth, I no longer have to compete with yours. Your beauty doesn't diminish mine. Your success doesn't threaten mine. Your joy doesn't leave less joy for me. Comparison gives way to appreciation. Competition gives way to connection. Scarcity becomes abundance. Perhaps that is what beloved community has been trying to teach us all along. Not that we are all the same. Not that we'll never compare ourselves. But that beneath every difference lies something comparison can never touch. Before we were successful or struggling, before we were young or old, before any label of the world or ourselves placed upon us, we belonged. We were worthy of welcome, and we deserved to be seen. We arrived here today in bodies that carry stories, bodies that have known delight and disappointment, bodies that have been judged, and bodies that have been loved. We spend so much of our lives trying to earn the right to feel at home in them. But perhaps the deepest truth is this: we were never strangers there. We are already home. Amen, and blessed be.
I invite you now to join me in singing our next hymn, 1053, How Could Anyone Ever Tell You? That's 1053 in the teal hymnal again. How could anyone ever tell you? Please rise as you are able. It has become our practice to pose a question based on the theme of the service each week. It can be a topic of sharing at coffee hour today or with friends during the week. If you'd like to delve deeper into this question, we invite you to join us at our Zoom coffee hour on Tuesday evening at 5. If you're not on our UUMH folk email list and would like the Zoom link, please let Kenneth in the office know. Just following the script. Our question this week is, when have you felt most at home in your body? What made that possible? When have you felt most at home in your body? What made that possible?
I'll end with these closing words from Mary Oliver. Joy is not meant to be a crumb. And to her words, I would add, let yourself have the cake. Go in peace.